work she did.
And we have Laura. Well, I'm sorry, what did you say, Robin?
I said Jennifer took all our ramblings and put it into this wonderful package, so she's here in spirit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And is working on a huge event for the museum. So let's call to order the, what is today? August 17th meeting of the Gig Harbor Arts Commission 2022. The time is 10:02, let's call it 10:03 a.m. First item of business is roll call, and I will call your names as I see you. Charlie Glock Jackson, Chair. Robin Avni?
Yes, here.
Good morning. Lynn
Good
Stevenson?
morning.
Lynn Stevenson, Commissioner.
Colette Smith?
Colette Smith, Commissioner, here.
Sonia Johnson?
Sonia Johnson here.
And that's our commissioners, and we have staff, Josh Decker, City Clerk, Tiffany Element, Assistant City Clerk, and Laura Pettit, esteemed Communications and Tourism Director. Good morning. First order of business then is approval of the minutes of the last meeting. So are there any corrections or additions?
Lynn, are there any misspellings or corrections?
Right.
You're our eagle eyes.
No, I didn't catch any.
Okay, I thought none here.
Then may I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And no opposed. So I believe we have unanimous approval of the minutes. So next item, or first item of our discussion items, is the mural project with Laura Pettit. Laura, take it away, please. An update is in order.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting a phone call at the same time.
You want me to come back to you?
Nope, now we're here.
Okay.
So I do have some initial conversations happening with Hillary Isaacson on location and a proposal. She's asked for a little bit of direction as to what we want to see in a mural. And I know you all have been keeping an eye out for good locations as well. I think our strategy of keeping those on panels is that are graffiti resistant is the most reasonable, feasible for a long-term strategy, because we could always install them elsewhere. Speedy auto glass is one of the considerations. One of the detractors from that is with the new roundabout. Taking photos in front of that would require someone to be either in the roadway, in the crosswalk, or maybe at the sidewalk across the street. So for public safety, I'm not sure if that's the best location. I think there could be something. I don't think that's going to be our interactive welcome to Gig Harbor, please stand here and use your body as an eye location. I know that we have some other underutilized areas throughout town, including uptown. I don't necessarily think it needs to be downtown. We do have the Peace, Love, and Joy mural returning for the holiday season. That doesn't necessarily have to be on the side of Devoted Kiss. We can locate that anywhere. So I'd love to invite this commission to keep an eye out for places you think that might be appropriate. Continued on, I'd like to make sure we have some fairness in opening it to artists and reviewing artworks and maybe choosing a final option from what's submitted. I think we're going to have to not only put out a public call for that, but also actively work to request submissions. But that is a lot of work for an artist. So I'm not sure how we want to go about that, how we want to solicit art. One of the things that was brought to my attention are these incredible Gig Harbor Rocks projects that are found throughout town. I believe the woman's name is Marley. And I think she puts out 3 or 4 a week. Doing some kind of install with all of those rocks or a painted like variety of that on a wall or a segment might be an interesting way to also solicit something that would be interesting and a photo worthy tourism destination. I don't have a final proposal from Hillary as of this morning. We've talked through it a little bit, and from what I know from her past presentation of those panels for the Christmas mural, we'd probably be looking around 5K. So I think that's probably a standard cost, and that obviously would range from, you know, what the size of the building is. I think with panels, we'd want to keep it pretty standard so that it's something that would fit within a photo. But also open to suggestions and hearing any of the thoughts that the commission has over the last month of research and just reaching out to your contacts and driving through and finding locations.
Great ideas. A question about the all the rocks. There's a group of of artists that are involved in that Gig Harbor Rocks project, and some of them are absolutely astounding. Some of the little creations that they make. So, but there is that I've forgotten her name. You said it, the leader who kind of organizes everything. Right? Yeah. So were you thinking of maybe like a mosaic of all those painted rocks together, or I'm not quite following that vision.
I am never going to represent myself as an artist. So I couldn't tell you necessarily how that would finally come to be. I reached out and just tried to gauge her interest in maybe a larger scale artwork, or something that, you know, put something forward. I know the other thing that I would align that with a little bit is the Monkey Shines event that happens throughout Tacoma, where people go out and specifically look for things over the course of a certain calendar amount, whether that be a couple weeks, or with Monkey Shines Lunar New Year. For us, it could be a different part, one of our shoulder season opportunities or the holidays. I think that might be interesting. It is hard to have a decentralized art project as part of a mural. But in flipping that over to see what might work for tourism, you know, maybe that's something different entirely. But I thought, geez, there's these incredible little paintings. And essentially what we want to look for on the tourism side is something that's bold, straightforward, easy to identify, and that draws people out. And this is a little bit of that kind of style in which it's funky and it's cute and it's bold and simplistic and easy to photograph and find. So those are two of the artists that I've kind of uncovered that would be local, and perhaps interested and available. I don't know what cost would look like if we did something in partnership with Gig Harbor Rocks or any of their artists. And I don't know the safety standards of installing a bunch of small rocks onto a vertical surface. So that's probably a consideration, but perhaps they'd be willing to take some of their best of hits and recreate them in a mural format and then have their Instagram handle on the side.
Lynn.
I just thought of something. What if we, the city, could create a wall of those rocks, various sizes, and people are encouraged to paint on them, so they're already attached to this backdrop. That just popped in my head.
Interesting idea. Interesting.
And we wouldn't be liable for someone's attempt at putting a rock on the wall and that might fall off.
I mean, I think what we'd be looking at is some like masonry or some, you know, some stonework, and then installing it as a place where people can come. And I mean, you know, that's kind of in the line of the Gig Harbor High School rock that they repaint every year. So would it be repaintable? Could someone paint over someone else's work? Would it be just a temporary thing? The only thing I worry about is that the amount of effort it takes to install something like that or do something like that, you know, I guess it would be with the other panels, we install that graffiti prevention so that other paint can be removed. In this case, would it be something that was ever changing, or would it be something that was static?
And where would they get the paint? So,
Right, and also what would be the cost to install
Yeah.
a stone masonry wall?
What,
I guess we
what,
should ask someone with a very nice fireplace. Cost is.
Robin,
um, what I was thinking is, I mean, because I could see there might be, I love your spirit, Lynn. I always love when you
me
come up with
too.
these ideas. I was thinking maybe we could coordinate with that team, with whatever mural project, and have a holiday like rock hunt, like, so it's kind of all gets launched together, like, oh, there's this mural and then there's these holiday rocks around town. And maybe we could work with the Downtown Waterfront Alliance, like I think they gave those percentages, right? So it could be more of an event type of thing when you unveil the mural and then have these rocks around and involve the downtown storefronts.
Right.
I was wondering if anybody's talked to the I'm probably using the wrong name, the Waterfront Alliance, is that right? Yeah, talk to them about where they think a spot on the harbor would be good to put the mural, because I think that is actually, it speaks to the tourism, but it also speaks to who Gig Harbor is, right? That we're all about our harbor. And I'm not, I love the other side of where Devoted Kiss is too, but I just know that like there's a lot of traffic also on, foot traffic on the other side where. So I'm thinking if we partner with the Waterfront Alliance and ask them where they think a good spot might be. And I think that then we get them engaged too as well. And as far as the call for public art, we do that all the time. So we're happy to, I think, I don't want to speak for the whole commission, but I think we'd be happy to pick that up. And if you're interested, I think for us, for our involvement, we have to be able to open it up for it to feel like it was equitable.
Right.
So, right. So, we're happy to do that piece. I like the panel idea. I mean, I think that it could even be, it doesn't have to even be on a wall if you're talking about panels, although it has to be so people can't knock it over. But I do think that it could be on the side of, what about like in, I'm going to say it right. I'll spell it Gurisch. How do you say that?
Jersey.
Jurassic Park, the structure there. I mean, is it possible to put it there, which gets a lot of traffic, and would be perfect, and it would also be near the other holiday displays. And I do want to mention, I'd like to refer to this as the holiday mural, just moving forward, just because of some issues that have come up in the past. And also because there's lots of holidays that are celebrated around that time. So, or call it the winter mural, but if we make it part of the holiday celebration, I think that's nice. And holiday rocks and, so that's kind of my feeling, is I think that a central location like that is kind of where we should go for.
So just a couple of points of feedback there too, and some questions on that as well. First and foremost, if we do partner with something on the Gig Harbor Rock side, would that be something that would be up for a creative endeavor grant? And is that an applicable cause?
Well, I
don't
think it's in our cycle right now, is it? We've already given them out for this year, so it could
maybe in a longer term schedule, also finding a way to work with them that would be something that would be covered under a creative endeavor grant and not necessarily a mural, but something that pulls in their talent.
Centralized group? I think I was under the impression it was just random people, but maybe I'm wrong.
Not sure. I don't think they're a 501c3 or anything like that, but that could be interesting. And I wasn't sure about the process around that, and Josh can probably give us a little bit of context there, or Tiffany. But just an idea on a larger partnership. our existing mural is peace, love, and joy, and very neutral and holiday spirit to be inclusive of all. Nothing necessarily, it doesn't have to be holiday based. We have an existing holiday mural that tourism has underwritten. Looking at the larger contextual side of murals throughout the city, I do love our downtown core, and I do think we get a lot of traffic. We could install the holiday at Jurassic Park. And just a side note, my sister always pronounced it Jurassic Park for years. But we could, I think our opportunity there too, on the tourism side, is to locate murals throughout town that aren't necessarily in the most high traffic areas in order to drive business to other parts of town or drive people into areas that they haven't previously explored. So I do think something like the West Side is unexpected, but a really cool opportunity to put a beautifying piece there. I think if you guys have ever driven out, and this is obviously not in city limits, but out on Point Fosdick toward the end at Willabella Farms, they have this wonderful farm side mural that says, you know, it takes the rain to grow, something along those lines, which is always a great reminder when it's raining and gross in the morning on the way to work. But, you know, something along those lines that has the opportunity for people to engage or interact with it, I think is what we're kind of hoping for. And what I see this as is a series of maybe 5 or 6 murals that are located places throughout town, so that are evergreen, that stay where they are. They're on panels, so essentially the city would own them and be able to move them if there was a conflict with the building owner or a new owner or something along those lines, so that we still have our investment in the original art. But with the art has a following, and you know, under that, you know, I'm thinking of the frog that says, "Hi, how are you?" in Austin, where people go take their picture with it. And, you know, there are beloved pieces of essentially graffiti in Austin that are along those lines, but, you know, and fitting with our Gig Harbor aesthetic and our Gig Harbor, you know, general feel of this community, something that's positive and uplifting and engaging, that people go, you know, like, "You've got this." And we have, you know, all of our high school seniors take their picture by that mural, or like something along those lines that really showcases the spirit of our community, and then also drives people to different areas of town to explore and take their pictures. And I think we all know there's a lot of Instagram driven exploration that happens. So essentially what we'd be looking at is how do we fund that 5 or 6 mural project through a partnership with the Arts Commission and tourism to create interest and figure out what that might look like as a cost share, what that might look like as a public call for art, and where those locations might be, and how we put that call out and then make final decisions on what art looks like. I don't want to give Hillary maybe too much direction and think that this is an order for a piece, you know, that comes from my mind. I think that our collective creativity throughout the city is something that we should pull from. I think our directive is just that it fits within the scale of a picture, that you can still tell what the message is with somebody standing in the picture, and that it follow our guidelines of being uplifting and inclusive, and I think, and somehow harken to our sense of place.
Right.
Well,
I think,
go ahead, Charlie.
Okay. I think if these are going to be permanent installations, now are they going to be permanent installations, or are they going to be things that are permanent but they can be moved all around?
Second, yes.
The second one, okay. It might be possible for those, and Josh would be the keeper of knowledge on this as usual, Josh and Tiffany, to fund those under our public art program, which is a more permanent, a fund for more permanent art. And we might have to redefine the word permanent, because they would be permanent artworks, but they would be movable. It would be a movable feast of art. But they might qualify under our public art rather than a creative endeavor grant. My feeling about the creative endeavor grants, and I love them passionately, is that they're more, we don't direct what the topics are going to be or what the piece of art is. There are things that are, the community thinks them up. The community comes up with the idea, the concept, and then presents that concept to the Arts Commission as a creative endeavor. And we've never like told them, okay, we're looking for a creative endeavor grant. It must have these perimeters. It must be a mural. It must be on an 8x8 foot or 4x8 foot panel. I think that's overstepping the intent of our creative endeavor grants. But Josh, you came back on. What do you think?
Well, I think if you're going to use the public art fund, it needs to be something that's owned by the city. So if it's not art that the city owns, that the city's putting on city property, then that fund wouldn't apply. It
Okay.
sounds like these are maybe going on private businesses, and the city may or may not own them, but they wouldn't. Public art is for capital projects,
Okay.
installations.
Not
this is all-
installations, even if we own the installation.
Yeah, we're talking about tourism related things here, so this would come out of a tourism budget.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too, Josh. But
Okay.
you know,
Gotcha. Okay, maybe we just partner with the Arts Commission on the public call for art then, and
And we're happy to help you with that. Yeah.
yeah, not a problem. Piece of cake.
And also, if you'd like us to be participatory in the evaluation of what gets
Yeah.
chosen.
yeah,
I
or
think,
just
you know.
put out the call for criteria on submissions.
Yeah, but also I think, we're happy to have a representative. I think you don't need all of us, but it'd be nice to have one of us kind of partner with you on what eventually gets chosen.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pieces right behind Charlie.
I'm fine.
Those are beautiful.
I'm happy.
So,
Can you make those bigger, Charlie? Yeah, so actually, I think that this is a good time because we're working on our work plan and our plan, and I think per Josh that it should come out of the tourism budget, but it should be on our work plan, our partnership with you. So is the goal, so if we could get a little more finite, then that we could just call it the Mural Project, and partnering with tourism, and how many would you like? Are you thinking 5, or you want to start with 1?
I think if the funding is probably coming solely from LTAC, then that will need to be presented in our budget and kind of confirmed via that mechanism. If we're looking at $5,000 a piece, we will need to figure out what allocation comes per year. It'll probably be a multi-year project rather than putting them all out at once. So if there is a fund for that, then we'll put that in as a line item and figure out how we can allocate funds there.
Okay,
But
great.
I would assume maybe it's 2 or 3 a year then, if it, and for over the course of 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think 5,000 is a reasonable price for that.
Yeah, I do too. And I think especially if we look at panels and the cost that's involved with that, that's something different.
Right.
The only thing that I would think, and LTAC isn't necessarily, I mean, there is a difficult part of what that LTAC grant money would go toward, whether it would be, it's not an event. It's not marketing of an event. If it's city owned, then it would be something there that would need to be on city property, which really limits us to where that would go, because the capital improvement is the third category that the municipalities are allowed to spend on. So I'd need to do some digging as to if that would fly on a private business,
Right.
but as a removable item that we own that could be switched between locations.
Right.
I'm also thinking there could be a possibility of doing maybe an install underneath the Scansy Pavilion on that back wall that faces the Harbor Wild Watch and Scansy House, so that people could, in inclement weather, take photos underneath that. That wouldn't be permanent though.
Right.
That would probably be a seasonal thing. And maybe some of these are seasonal. Maybe some of these are things that apply only during holidays or only during summer or something along those lines. But they are city owned and stored and brought out each year. And I'm not sure how that would work.
Yeah.
So our grant directives are also pretty straightforward in what they cover. And this is a funky one. So maybe I'll also ask MRSC and just see if this applies and what category I would put it under. So
Yeah.
that's a good way to just cover tracks.
And Laura, it might be worth exploring a sponsorship too with, I don't know, Rotary or Kiwanis or, one of the banks or something like that.
Yep. We've got a good amount of things for people to sponsor.
Yeah. Right. Well,
yeah.
this is another one. It's art,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Let's put our money where our mouth is. Art is important in this town.
Yeah.
Good. So
Would
as
we own it then? Would we own it as the city though, if it was sponsored? Or if we just connected sponsors with private businesses?
yeah, well,
So,
we would work that out.
yep. So,
Lynn,
Yeah, Laura, I was just curious, who makes those panels? Is that Public Works that creates?
no, I think those are usually purchased by the artist. So with Hillary and the panels, as you all know, that she recreated for the Ukraine mural too, I think they were just treated plywood that was then installed within a frame. And then with a lighting structure overhead.
Oh, wow.
So, well, she had glow in the dark paint factors that made it
Yeah.
interactive at night too. So that lighting was crucial there, but
So, would the artist be required to create those panels within that $5,000 budget?
yes.
Oh. Okay.
yeah.
And if that raises it, then perhaps we can take a look at raising that. But as far as I know, that wasn't an extensive cost. So, and I can check in with Hillary on exactly what the cost was of those panels, where she sourced them and what the material was that she used to prep them before she painted. So we have a general idea, and also what they used as a anti-graffiti cover. So, or a finish.
Okay. So then the city wouldn't have really any, well, I guess you could put parameters around like, what kinds of materials are used, how the panels need to be able to be displayed and broken down and stored, and are they hinged? And until now I thought that the city was going to be providing a standardized set of panels, and that the $5,000 was just the artist fee.
Yeah, no. And I mean, we could essentially do it that way. It would just require an additional amount of budgeting for us to source and prep the panels. And like I mentioned, I'm no artist. I don't know if that would be a Saturday thing I did to deliver to artists.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking you've
Yeah.
got people who are mural artists and they can find a wall and paint it, but they may not. I mean, that might just blow their mind. Like, where do I begin to create a panel system, and what does that cost? And
the feedback that I got from Hillary is that it was easier because they didn't have to work with the finishes of the surface. So it was a flat surface that was easy to paint on and easy to paint inside rather than be on site on a wall. So the install took about 4 to 5 hours, I think, to get everything hung correctly. But the feedback I got is that it was an easier surface, but open to. I mean,
I have a dear friend who has painted many murals, and she always paints them on a 4x8 sheet of plywood that she then gessos or something. She treats it with some kind of artistic material and then paints directly on that, and then the panels are installed whatever the venue is where they're going. And also I worked on the choosing the artist to do the artwork for the old Main and Vine store, the big mural that they had inside there. And that was all done off-site on, on panels, and then installed in the store once the store was ready to be finished. So I think especially for muralists that work outdoors, it's pretty typical that they work on panels.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Charlie, do you have contact details for the muralist that did that Main and Vine mural?
I can go back through my files and find it. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Are
Yeah.
you talking about the one that was inside with the fisherman? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Lita Dawn
Dawn. Yeah.
Stanton. I thought that was painted right on the wall. I just thought it was part of the drywall.
No, she did it. I think pretty sure she did it in panels. I could be wrong, but I'm
Wow.
pretty, that's been many
So
years
it
ago.
might still exist somewhere. Like that would be amazing well, that maybe that would be owned by,
It was owned by Kroger.
yeah.
Yeah, so no telling where it is. Yeah, so, but I can, I mean, I can check with my other artist friend who actually now lives in Port Orchard, but she's an art teacher at a high school. So
Great.
she's
Any
got a lot of
suggestions you
info.
have would be absolutely
Great.
welcome.
Okay. And Laurel, I'm happy to work with you, whatever capacity we can be helpful. So
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the creative hive mind. I think we always come up with great ideas. And oh, Lynn, go ahead.
Sorry, Laura. I was recently looking at some friends' photos whose my friends are visiting Greenland and Iceland and right now, and there's a picture of something that I imagine is probably common in various places, but it's a sculpture of a heart, and the base of it says hashtag love Gig Harbor, whatever it says. And people sort of get inside the heart, right behind it.
Yeah.
It's just this simple, probably metal sculpture like that. So as far as destination photo sites, and the murals are a great idea, but I thought of I'm sure you've seen things like that too, but I recently saw that photo and I was like, oh, that's what Laura's talking about, having something that people go see. And in this case, they sort of interact with it and they stand inside of it essentially.
And I think maybe that might be, and beyond the mural thing, that might be something for the Arts Commission, because the sculpture, I'm assuming, is immobile and put in one place and stays. And that might be an Arts Commission project that would be appropriate for funding through the Arts Commission. I'm always happy to weigh in as well. So on what would be a good impact for tourism. And you can take that as you'd like, or under consideration. But yeah, I think those are all interesting. It doesn't necessarily just have to be a mural. It can be interactive in any way. I love the idea of joint purposing that and having a beautiful piece of public art that also inspires people to travel out and see that piece and interact with it and tag themselves on social or tag themselves and attract more visitors to visit Gig Harbor as an arts forward destination.
Yeah.
So,
well, we talked about the creating the rocks on the wall that someone then can paint individually. Another idea, because that would be huge and heavy. Shells. We could use white shells, various size shells. So
I like that.
yeah, and people
I
can
like
just
that
be
a lot.
inspired. I mean, encouraged to go. Hey, take your paints over there with your classmates and go paint some things. Or
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a sense of place. That's something that's really unique to our part of the world too. So I like that.
Okay.
Love the ideas that come out of these. I always love being with the Arts Commission. So I will remove myself. I think we've discussed all we need to discuss right now. And I have some directive on how to move forward and figure out funding. And then also on what a public call for art would look like too. So
we're here to help.
Thank you. Same. All right.
Thanks, Laura. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for all you do.
Hey, you too.
Okay. What's our next item of business? That was fun. Yeah, let's keep those creative juices flowing and we'll just really inundate Laura with good ideas and good inspiration. Thank you all. Arts Commission work plan. Okay, Robin, thank you for shepherding this one through. The floor is yours. You're muted.
I know, I was having to get my microphone. Hi, everybody. Okay, well, thank you so much to Jennifer, who took all our thoughts and really put it into a comp plan budget. So what the goal here is today is, she sent it out to everyone. I hope you have it up or on your screen or print it out. And I just wanted to go through, and there's a few things that I think we can add to and assign numbers to. Charlie, she went out to 2027. How far out do we need to go? Is it a 2-year budget?
It's a
Or-
two-year budget. So this
So-
would be 23 and 24.
Okay, so we don't really need those other 3 columns at this point, but so we can remove those. So Josh, can you put this up on the screen, or Tiffany, put this up on the screen so everybody can at least see it together. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I think any feedback on just the general format of aligning these under our goals and then having points under each goal. Any thoughts before we dive in? Okay, I'll take that as an affirmation.
Yes.
So let's move on. So number 1, under creative and economic vitality, we have our creative endeavor grant. It's 25,000. Charlie and Lynn, remind me, I think we started with 20,000 and then we got improved to 25. Is that correct?
Josh, were we up to 30 this year, or was that just
Yeah,
my
it was
wishful
30
thinking?
this year. Do you want
That's
to keep
what I
it at
thought.
30?
Yes, that's what I wanted to ask was, should we keep it at 30 or even try to increase it another 5 to 35,000?
I say let's go for 35, but they can always cut it back.
I have no problem with that. It's which is something, it's just a number we'll put in the budget, so.
Yeah, okay,
Make
so is Tiffany or Josh, are you making notes on this spreadsheet as we go?
I'm not. Tiffany can update it based on.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Tiffany, let's make that 35,000.
Okay.
That would be great.
Does anyone object to that on the commission? I don't want to just be making an executive decision here. Is there any objection to trying for 35?
No, I think that sounds good.
Okay, seeing none, then let's go for it.
Okay, great. So now this is interesting considering our last meeting. So that we just had, collaborate with Gig Harbor Tourism and Marketing and Pierce County to increase this tourism in Gig Harbor. Budget action, I don't think that we have a budget action here. I just think we need to make a note that says, as an example, the currently discussing a mural project budget would be allocated out of Gig Harbor Tourism and Marketing. Any thoughts on that?
That sounds like an accurate interpretation of what I certainly understand about the meeting we just had. Any other thoughts on that?
I would say that typically, I would add typically budget allocations would come from the, would be determined with the scope of each partnership. So that leaves it open.
Good.
Partnership, okay, so that's a 0. Strengthen the operational capacity of the arts, heritage, and cultural community through development of a city arts fund to support grants and cultural experiences.
Isn't that the same as number A?
Yeah, I think I think the budget, actually, I think the creative endeavor grant goes under here. I think it's more accurate under here.
Right,
That's what this is.
yeah.
So I'm making notes on this as we go too. So
So Robin, are these A, B, C, D, or these are taken straight from the
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. So, and we went through and we assigned projects to them. But this one, the Creative Endeavors Grant is really strengthening the capacity, should be under C.
Right, I agree.
Robin, I agree with that too. The one that's under A is actually, I don't see that that would require a budget action.
No,
That's simply what we do as commissioners.
right. And that I think, anything that requires a budget action, we put a number aside from. But I think this is also, it's our work plan, right, as well. So, good, everybody agrees. Okay.
Yes.
I
So,
just wanted to point out, Tiffany, there's a typo in C, the support grants from
Yeah.
the,
I see that.
okay,
Instead of fro.
yeah.
in C.
Mm,
Oh,
Or it might be four.
I think it's
Support grants
four. Yeah.
Or 4, okay, support grants 4.
wait, where are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I guess it's 4.
Right.
In
Is
C.
it under goal 4?
No, just if you're reading C, it says strengthen the operational capacity of the arts, heritage, and cultural community through the development of a city arts fund to support grants for.
4, right.
for
sorry.
artists. Yeah, it should say for artists. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. It was tucked over there in the corner. All right. So, collect data that evaluates cultural and economic impact on the arts of Gig Harbor. I actually think this is a survey and that we need to put a budget action with
I
that.
agree. Do we talk about the survey elsewhere in the plan, specifically, Robin?
I don't recall. I did review it, but now
Yeah.
my memory is short. So,
Me
so
too.
I think, we put it here, talk about a citizen and community survey.
Agree.
I would also say, citizen, community and business survey, actually.
Good, okay.
Mhm.
Is that like an E? Is that like what E says?
Oh, yeah.
No, I think to me, a review is different. A survey is, putting something out in the community, and then a review would be, I think perhaps community meetings, but also reviewing the survey, right? So that's assessment. You have collect it and yes. Oh, I see what you're saying. Solicit regular feedback from the community through surveys and interviews. Yeah. You're right.
Right. Right. It sounds like D and E could be combined.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. Yes, thank you for that. Solicit regular feedback from community through surveys and interviews, community. And then evaluate cultural, that last sentence, evaluate cultural.
And economic impact.
Yeah. And then take out D altogether is what you're saying, correct?
Right.
Okay, if you want me to share while I do this in real time, I'm happy to do that.
Did you want to?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me do that. Make more sense for everybody.
Yeah, thanks. That'll be easier for us to follow, I think.
Okay, can you see now?
Yes.
Can you make it a little bit bigger?
Yes, I can. I just need to, I'm gonna, okay. All right, can you see that now?
It's better, yeah.
Copy. All right, and I'll clean that up a little. So I do think that,
So E, the letter E has to become letter D.
right. So I do think we need to put a dollar amount around that. I know last time the city did it for us. Is that correct? Charles?
Right, yeah, they
Um,
did it online. And I'm sorry, I don't know what that would have been, the value would have been in staff time on that. But Josh, what the tourism department did for our last survey, which we created and did as part of our comp plan preparation research. The committee came up with the survey questions, and then the tourism department put the survey online and then managed the compilation of data, and then just gave us the results. And I don't know how to identify that as staff time.
I don't think you need a budget for that for staff
Okay.
time. That's not something we need to have an allocation for. The last survey that we did, I was trying to untangle that a couple weeks ago, trying to figure out what happened there. But that survey, as I understand it, wasn't exactly an Arts Commission survey because it was done by the Comp Plan Committee, which included a lot of people that weren't on the Arts Commission.
True.
And I'm not sure, I guess Laura probably volunteered, or maybe it was Mimi and Molly.
It was Mimi.
Yeah. So whatever survey process we end up doing, we'll have to probably reinvent the wheel and figure out how that's going to work. But I don't think you need to budget for it.
Okay.
If
All
we
right.
decide we want to do something like that, we will have the money somewhere to do it.
So what should I say here for budget action then? Just,
I don't know that you need to have anything there for budget action. I think you just need to have something there that says that you want to do another survey.
all right, so it's more just action item. than-
Yeah.
And then I can say the same here, but we can have a budget number associated with it. Okay. Okay, public arts and community. Okay, so action item then, participate in the master plan. Because there's no budget that's really
Right.
Parks budget, right? Would
Right.
that be with the Parks Committee, with the Parks division?
Yeah, we are not doing a Shaw Creek master plan, so it would just be Crescent Creek Park. Sorry, I missed that part of the conversation there. Yeah,
Okay.
Shaw Park would be, I think, 2025 tentatively
Okay.
scheduled, but Crescent Creek would be on there.
And who would we be partnering with? What group?
That would
Parks
just be
Commission.
with the Parks Division.
Parks Division, okay.
Josh, do we get into the sports complex here yet? 23, 24? Biennium?
I don't know what's going to be in the budget for that. It's phase 1B, which I think Jeff or Aaron he came and talked to you about at one of your past meetings. That's kind of already moving forward. There will be some kind of public art portion of that will be probably 23, 24. I don't think it's going to happen this year.
Right.
But I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like.
Okay, but
That-
let me put it here.
Yeah, maybe we should just take a step back for a minute and talk about kind of like the work plan and the timeline. So the 2023-2024 budget is going to be basically the mayor's draft is going to come out on October 1st. There's going to be some things in that, like the Crescent Creek master plan and the sports complex project that are going to be impacting the Arts Commission that will be basically de facto work plan items for you.
Mhm.
So the work plan that we're developing now is going to be basically all of those things that we find in the budget that are going to affect you, plus, other non-budgetary things that you guys want to take on. So we don't entirely know exactly what is going to be in that yet. I think Jeff's still finalizing, especially the parks part of it. So when we come back for your October meeting, we'll actually have that budget and we can open it up and look at it and see what's in there. So I guess this is a good exercise to kind of go through the stuff that you're expecting to see, but we won't really know for sure what it's going to be until we get to that point. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. I actually think that's great, Josh, because I think then we're ready and it's really more
Yeah.
of, we've got this firm and then it's more of an add or delete rather than start from scratch. So,
I guess I'll go from there too, because that budget is going to be out on October 1st. This is kind of like we just discussed with the creative endeavor grants. This is kind of where I need to know what you guys need to see in the budget as far as asks. And really that's just the creative endeavors grant and the Harbor Arbor, because those are really the only two budgeted items that you guys ever have, unless there's something new that you've identified that you want to do.
well, we do have acquire public art here, which is a little different than Arbor Art.
Right.
Yeah, that hasn't been in the budget lately. Do you know why that is, Charlie?
We just haven't had any projects coming up that we knew of.
For
The
acquiring
projects,
public art?
for example, the roundabout art, which I think is in this year's budget.
Yeah, that will be, Jeff and Public Works will take care of that. They'll have that in the budget, whatever needs
Yeah.
to be in there.
Okay,
This $1,000 line, I thought we used to have that in the budget wasn't that for acquiring a piece from like the PAL show?
yes, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
And we stopped doing that for some reason. I don't remember. what that
We stopped doing it because the former mayor said there wasn't room for any more art in the civic center.
Well, that is true, but yeah, so
I mean, $1,000 doesn't buy you much. So let's just, in public art. I would
Well, what-
rather ask, I have an ask that I would like to put in, which is more about the sponsorship of a community meeting with Washington State Arts Commission and to not necessarily become a creative district, but to talk about moving us forward, move us forward as a creative community. So, and I would look for some sponsorship for that. What I'm looking at, my vision, my grand vision is that we get the Washington State Arts Commission. I know I could get Karen to come in, who is the director, who has done a phenomenal job of expanding the commission, and appointed by the governor, have them come in, have Karen talk about various programs that could impact our city, but also include like the Peninsula Art League, hands-on art, all the various art and creative endeavors. I just saw they're starting a new theater in the city, to get all of those people together under, pulling in some different as you will, head honchos, and talk about Gig Harbor and the future of the arts community. And I think that's something the commission should help facilitate, but yet it will all rely on other arts groups in the community to move it forward. That's my grand vision. I don't know. I just kind of threw that out there because I didn't get to it yet on the sheet, but I think we need to, number one, look for a venue and also provide snacks, if you will. So not alcohol.
Right.
Yeah.
Snack.
So I would go ahead and add that to your work plan as something that you want to do. I don't think we need to budget for that either, because I don't think the expense for that is going to be something that we could absorb easily. It would basically be a special meeting of the Arts Commission where we invite, the state agency to come and present, and we make it advertise it to the public and have it be in a place where a lot of people can attend. I don't think any of that needs to be specifically called out in our budget. We have the money to do that if we can plan something.
Okay, so then everybody, let's just look for where we put it. It doesn't go under public art, I believe, but
It may go right at the very top in your goal 1, section A, because you're basically
oh, right there.
acting as
Yeah.
your, as a cultural leader, putting something like that on, I would think.
Point. Up one.
Up one.
No, I know, I'm doing a cut and paste.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna have to re-edit these, so,
Yeah. I think that's a splendid idea, Robin, and I have that can take off from the Gig Harbor Arts Center Alliance group
yes,
that I'm still on the board of, and we have a list. We have contacts with all the arts groups. Well, Sonia, your orchestra, the Gig Harbor Civic Orchestra, for example, and Harbor Wind should be included in that. You know, if we're talking about venues and a creative vision for all the capital A arts in the city.
yeah, and I don't really, for me, for what I'm looking at is not so much as talking about an arts center as talking about arts
Right.
community. So,
Right.
and part of that, of course, is venues, but that's not the sole purpose. Wouldn't
Sure.
be the sole purpose of
Yeah,
this.
exactly. It just brings us all together, all the
Exactly.
arts groups together to get to know one another and figure out how we can cross-pollinate and grow.
Okay, and I'll fine tune that, but
Right.
okay. Okay, we're doing great here. I'm excited.
Good work. Everyone cover your eyes. We're looking at Robin's intimate.
Yeah, right. Hardly. This is in read only. That's why I have to change the name. Hold on. Let me put it in a place I can find it, like my desktop. Come on, all the way up. There we go. There we go. Okay. Don't want to lose all this precious work, right? Save early and often. Okay, where were we? Thank you, Josh. So public arts and community. So we're looking at these 2 action items of the sports complex.
Sports complex and Crescent Creek.
Crescent Creek, yep. And then, so acquire public art. So back to that. What are we going to do with that?
Well, that was, you're right, that was purchasing a piece of art from the PAL show, but you know, the mayor deleted it from our budget. So I think we can take it out for now, but think of maybe putting it in again. I mean, there is a problem of what to do with it if we buy it. So, and that's a real problem.
Yeah, and also I think the one I think is key for us here. This I think is more of a 1% for art. This is not necessarily about roundabouts and sports complexes. This is about new buildings, new
Right.
So there's no budget action, but it's an action item in terms of, you know, new construction.
Right.
And more advocacy. So
Right.
okay,
Advocacy for art being included in any new construction.
exactly. Explore funding of public art purchases through a variety. Well, this is, I think the action item is exactly what that is, right? We took it out of
Right.
here.
Yeah.
All right. Formalize an overall strategy in public spaces, as well as address inventory maintenance and policy issues. Budget or draft and distribute an RFP for creating the art inventory. All right, so Josh, there is budget money that will be needed if we're going to inventory our art. So what's your suggestion here?
I think,
Again, I don't know that it's really gonna cost anything to inventory the art. There will be, I mean, it's probably some minor cost involved with, but it's really staff time and then getting it visually posted to the website. So
right.
a couple of years ago, that was supposedly something that the tourism department was going to work on when they got their new assistant up and running, and I don't know where they're at on that. It is still on their work plan, but I don't know.
It
Okay.
just personally, it seems to me that that's more an arts commission function than a tourism function. So, but do you remember why it got moved to tourism, Josh?
Well, really, it's a staff function because it's going to be city staff that's putting it together and getting it hosted on our website. Well, I'm just kind of assuming that the inventory is really going to be a website more than a document or a PDF or a Word document like it's been in the past.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah,
It should be electronic.
yeah,
I think though tourism probably wanted it because they wanted to do some sort of maybe a walk with identifying different artworks and then
Yeah.
have people walking around the
Brochure.
Gig Harbor area to see it. So that's probably why
Yeah.
it would be a tourism item.
Right. And the inventory is pretty much complete, I think. Josh, I don't remember. It's a fellow in Public Works, Mike,
mhm,
somebody that did a pretty thorough review and put everything on a spreadsheet. And the thing that is lacking is photography. We need to have some kind of a plan for photographing all the art pieces, because some of the photographs that we have in the existing public art catalog
yeah.
leave something to be desired.
Okay, so that's probably something that we probably would spend money on. We'd have to find a professional photographer to do that. I don't think that would rise to the level of needing to be in the 2023-2024 budget. If you put it
Okay.
on your work plan and just say, we want to update the public art inventory or the art inventory, which could include hiring a professional photographer, I think that's fine because we as staff administratively go out and find somebody to do that, and it doesn't rise to the level of needing to have its own budget line item, I don't think.
Right.
Although I don't know how much photographers cost these days. It could get to that point, but
Yeah.
I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay, so what I did was I just said, including updating the art inventory to photograph, document art assets.
And I'll check with Mike and see what he's got, what he's done. I don't remember seeing that.
I think it was when it was Molly was kind of more the leader on that one.
Yeah.
And I'll
I
see
have-
what I can dig out too.
I have Len and Elijah's document that I can forward
Right.
you, Josh.
Right.
Yeah, I know we have
Yeah, I
an
think that's what,
inventory that we did. But I also know there's been a lot of art that's been swapping offices around the building here that has been or should be in that inventory. So
oh, good,
All right, good.
good.
Forgive me, this is anal designer thing. The yellows were not matching. Oh my God. Okay,
can I just clarify, we do want to keep the 5,500 for Harbor Arbor for each year going forward?
yes, it's right here,
Yes.
Okay,
right here.
we'll keep that the same in the budget then.
Yeah, Lynn, do we need an increase?
There it is.
Yes.
Yes, of
Do we
course.
need it? Does it would help.
How about
I
75?
wasn't going, how much?
How about
55.
how about 75?
We have to, well, we have to find the trees.
That's
Maybe,
the bigger problem is finding the right sites, the snags, but having more money is a good thing.
Yeah, the reason we want these in the budget is because if we have it identified in the budget, like the Creative Endeavors Grant and the Harbor Arbor, these are contracts that we're going to sign, and if they're identified in the budget, then the mayor can just administratively sign the contract. But if we don't have it in the budget, then we have to go to council and say, we want to spend 7,500 for a tree carving, and that's kind of a pain. And it's just easier to get it all put out ahead of time. That's really the only reason to have something listed in the budget, is so we can
That's
sign that contract.
Thank you, Josh. That's a great definition, and that helps a lot. Like I
Yeah.
was, you know,
thank you.
yeah.
So yeah, like hiring a photographer might get to that level. I don't really think it will, but we don't need to identify that one. So that's kind of how
All
I
right.
look at that.
Okay. All right. So education and enlightenment. Well, this is just a goal. Number one, a commitment to quality arts education and lifelong learning. Fostered partnerships between the business community, and arts and cultural organizations. So I do have an action item for this. And I don't think it involves a budget number because it involves a partnership. I don't know if you're aware of this, but how many of you are aware of the new, the paper store that just went into Uptown at the beginning of the summer? I think it's called Paper Delights. And they have one in Tacoma or in Fircrest. It was started by a mother and daughter who are from Gig Harbor in their basement, and now it employs 25 people. And what they just did was they just leased the space next to Greenhouse. Is it Greenhouse? Not Greenhouse. What's that restaurant called in Uptown?
Greenhouse.
It is greenhouse.
Is it Greenhouse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They just leased, there's a double space next to Greenhouse, and they're putting in a studio space. Like for to host art workshops and things like that. I haven't had a chance to talk to Jennifer yet. I've talked with her on various occasions about other stuff. And I would like to see if, number one, it could be I don't know how large the space is. I just see it from the outside. It could be something where we could host things, but also I think it could be something where we could, sponsor something, or not sponsor, but partner with Jennifer on something for the community. So any ideas on that?
What's the name of it, Robin?
Well, they haven't named it yet, but the store is called
Paper Delights.
Paper Delights. Thank you.
Paper Delights?
Phew. Yeah, Paper Delights. And it's
Okay.
also could be, Colette, I don't think it's large enough to host a PAL meeting, but
Yeah.
certainly a PAL workshop, right?
Yeah, that'd be something great.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think that I was thinking we should invite Jennifer to the Arts Commission meeting and just chat with her. So, but I think that would go under foster partnerships with business community and arts cultural organizations, at least one action item.
Okay.
Any thoughts on that?
I think that's a great idea. And the more we can
I
engage
think,
business partners, the better off it is, because they're the ones that'll have the resources. And if they're invested in it, that just, it'll grow from there, I think. Yeah.
I would also ask us to consider groups like the Waterfront Alliance as well.
Yes, so that should be, I agree, absolutely, because they were very good, like, they were very good when we were trying to do that general discussion for the Net Shed, which is a lovely space to host things. So
Right.
action item, meet with. I'd also add, anybody else we should add in? Well, part of it is, we wanted to meet with the city council, Josh, so does that need to go under here? Yes, no?
Sorry, to meet with city council, what would it be related to? Just,
Well, remember, we wanted to improve our relationships with city council. And it was suggested that, I think by you, that we have a work plan that then we can discuss with them. So, does that need to be on here as an action?
I wouldn't put that on there because when you adopt the work plan, that probably will be your meeting with council.
Okay,
Because the work plan will go to council for approval. So I think that's kind of how we're envisioning that it'll work, is you'll have a joint meeting with the council to kind of present your work plan and talk about what you're doing, and then
okay.
that would be kind of meet that, I believe.
You think that'll be at a meeting or a study session?
Oh, a study session, probably.
Probably.
And I haven't really ironed that out with Tracy and Katrina yet, but I would imagine that it will probably be sometime around our budget discussions in October and November, because it's all kind of related.
Right.
Okay, is it
So-
possible not to be at the very end, so we have to sit through like?
Oh, yeah, no, it would probably be a special section just for each. I know the Parks Commission wants to do one too, and
Right, yeah.
Because I know when we did the plan, the cultural plan, Len and I sat there for 3 hours, so
Yeah.
it was
I remember that.
fascinating, don't get me wrong, but,
we don't really do 3-hour meetings anymore, and
Yeah.
we usually try to schedule other groups to be first, so people don't have to sit through stuff,
Yeah.
so.
thank you.
And-
Okay,
And traditionally, we have met with the council to present our budget. I mean, in the past, me and sometimes Lynn, I think Robin, maybe you've come to those also. And I mean, we just present our budget and answer questions from the city council. And we haven't done it the last couple of years, I think, because of COVID. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think your joint meeting will probably take the place of that. Since
Yeah.
we really streamline the budget so that you're not really explaining your whole work plan during the budget anymore. We don't really need to do that.
great.
good. Okay, so anything else? Yes,
On B, on the action item, the paper delights,
yeah.
should that be a little bit more broad? Is the intent of that action item to come up with new venues for potential art events? I'm wondering if it should be identify additional venues for, potential events, and then underneath that action item could be a listing, paper delights. You mentioned Net Shed. If there are any other, maybe Harbor History Museum.
I think it's, yes.
It
partners.
looks like we're focusing on paper delights, and I'm just
Yeah,
wondering,
no.
is the intent to try to come up with ideas for other spaces to have workshops or?
I think it's spaces and offerings.
Mhm.
So, but that's a great point. Thank you so much, Sonia. We want to make it so it's all inclusive, and these are examples. So yeah. So, potential partners. And then I will,
And then it could kind of have, bullet points or listing, such as, and then the paper
Mhm.
plate
Right.
and Net Shed and that type of thing.
creative offerings. And I'll add some other stuff in there, and then it should be like you said.
For example.
One. And then I'll do, example. Oh, oh my goodness. I don't know why it's giving me a formula. I'll just do example 2. Okay, great feedback. Thank you. Okay. I'll modify, edit all this too, but that's great. Thank you. Great. Advocate the inclusion of arts in the Peninsula School District STEM program. Well, I think they are doing STEAM now, aren't they? Are they doing STEAM now?
Many schools are, yeah.
We could say STEM and STEAM
Yeah.
curriculum.
And I don't, yeah, just advocating is the action.
Yeah, and actually, how collaboration for school demos? Action item? Colette or?
Yeah, we wouldn't really need a budget for that. Although we are having internal discussions about incentivizing more artists to step up and participate in that, and that might come with a little stipend, but that would just be something Pal would, I think, take care of, so that.
I'm not sure it needs to be here, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay. So I actually did a little searching on our portal, and we do have art from the Washington State Arts Collection in some of our schools here.
Right.
So I think that an action item might be to tour some of those.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Good.
Okay. Commission Art for Schools via Washington Arts Commission. Oh, this was, I think this is more of a facilitation action item, that, facilitate connections for art programs, for Arts Law programming in local schools.
Good.
They have a whole bunch of things that people can apply for that I'm not sure they're aware of, so.
Good.
Okay, and then. Okay. Create opportunities for the public to watch artists, conservators, and historic preservation at work. There's our official song. Yay, Lynn.
Yay.
Yay!
I was telling Charlie, we're looking into that. We now got my husband and I got a copy of the sheet music. So I still haven't heard it, but he was looking at possibly doing an arrangement of it, so.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Isn't that
great
cool?
because it actually is more of an orchestra piece, I think, because it's kind of like it's like, it reminds me, you hear it and you think World War II, right? It's
Okay, all right, I haven't heard it yet, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
So don't you think, Charlie and
I
Lynn,
do,
don't you think
yeah.
it's more like that era, like,
it
you
is
know,
that old school, old timey radio show.
right, like,
Right.
and now,
Okay.
you know, yeah, exactly.
But Sonia, what we did talk about, okay, just to fill you in, what we talked about years ago was introducing this song during the summer concert
summer.
series in the park, and asking each individual band if they would like to present their own spin on it. You know, just so, you know, here's the lyrics, here's the original song, but, you know, give them an opportunity to do it their own way so they can get creative with it.
Right, I think that's a fun idea. I mean, you've got the orchestra could do it, and you've got the big band, they could do an arrangement of it, maybe Gig Harbor High School. That could be fun.
But also like the Shy Boys or the Beatniks.
Sure.
It's asking a lot of them to act, to even, they'd have to practice and everything. It wouldn't be a requirement, but I think it'd be so fun to play around with that song and at the same time educate the public about the song. Nobody, most people don't know that it exists.
Right.
Yeah, a battle of the bands.
Yeah.
Oh my
I had
God.
never even heard we had a song until
No.
last meeting, so.
It was quietly approved by the council years ago, and it wasn't necessarily intended even at that time to be publicly kind of promoted. It was just
And it was-
official on the record, right? Here's the song.
Yeah. And it was approved by the council kind of as a memorial to a dear departed mayor who
Yeah.
had advocated for it for years and years and years. So it's sort of the memorial for Gretchen.
Right, right. It was kind of a token unanimous vote, but
Unanimous
okay.
In memory of our dear departed mayor.
But it would
Right.
be interesting to see if somebody like, did a twist, like a new modern spin on it too.
Mhm.
That would be interesting as well.
Mhm. I mean, I imagine at our concert events, we could have hand out the lyrics to people. It's a song. One day, maybe everybody will know those lyrics.
Sure.
I love it.
And then they'll have to stand up every time it's played.
Yes, you have to salute, or I don't know. Put our hands over our hearts.
A wistful, memory. All right. So what about this create opportunities for public to watch artists, conservators? I would think this budget music painter collaboration, could we just leave it at the public song for now, or is there something else you want to put in there?
That's fine.
Right.
There would be possibly there might also be possibilities to, well, let me put it this way. Several years ago, the Gig Harbor Arts Open Studio Tour got a Creative Endeavor grant. And it was very, very appropriate because one of the things that the studios do on the tour is demonstrate, each artist has an opportunity to demonstrate how they do their work, what inspires them, how they make their paintings or their sculptures or whatever. And were the Open Studio people to apply for a Creative Endeavor grant, that would be another way that we could satisfy this requirement.
Okay. Do we need to put that? Is there
Well,
some?
I don't know that we need to do any action items. I think it's just, we need to keep encouraging them when the grants are open, to consider applying for a grant.
Yeah. And I think action items are just what we're hoping to tackle
Yeah.
this year. So
Yeah.
one thing is certainly enough. I mean, these are what we have is certainly enough. So,
Right.
okay, spaces and places. So this is where inventory, including spaces suitable for maker spaces, artists and conservators. Okay,
So that-
Josh. Yeah, go
That
ahead.
kind of goes back to that, our earlier point though, with the getting together, or talking about different spaces for like the net shed and that new paper place. It's kind of the same thing as this.
Let's see how we phrase that. Well, I think this is more about fostering partnerships, and the previous one, and it does kind of overlap a little, but I think the real idea of this one is the lack of public spaces for performance and collaboration. And this speaks to the plan you know, the old Masonic Hall idea. I don't know, Josh, if there's anything else you could fill us in, or Tiffany, on that one, as part of the Crescent Park plan. But I think this is trying to work with influencers to improve the state of spaces. So the idea was, oh, let's inventory all the blank spaces, like, you know, the empty, like the supermarket on Judson, which is not going to happen now. Are there any other different plans for that, Josh?
I don't know what the status of that is right now. That specific project.
Yeah, I think,
This one seems like it would be difficult to undertake as an advisory board, since we're dealing with private property and
Yeah.
they're going to be kind of. I'm not sure how this would work.
yeah, existing, I mean, it would be a quick inventory. There's like maybe one existing spaces, the museum.
But there are other empty, as we said, private spaces that,
Yeah, that's true.
but
Yeah, as I think as a city, we would not want to be saying there's an empty place here that you could reach out and see if you could use it for something artistic. That
Right.
probably wouldn't be appropriate for a government agency to do. But we could do something like on your Arts Commission webpage, where we do keep track of existing places. There may be more than just the museum.
okay, we could say track existing cultural facility. Because this really isn't in the new, this is our working language. This was changed for the comp plan, correct? So we could just say track.
Yeah,
Okay. Everybody okay with that?
Fine with me.
Okay. Respond to the growing need for artistic and cultural facilities, identify short and long-term facility needs and priorities. I think that's just part of, once again, this, isn't it?
Right, yeah. Right. And it's
Okay.
just action, it's not budget, yeah.
Yeah. Encourage the development of venues suitable for, I think this is where we had the Masonic.
Uh-huh,
So we'll just keep that as an action item.
right.
yeah. I think you have that one listed above too, don't you, for the Crescent Creek Master Plan?
Yes, but it's good to cross-reference it because
Mhm.
I
It
think
fits in.
it falls under both.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I wish there were a way to make a performing arts center more of a priority for, you know, not just the Arts Commission, but for Gig Harbor. You know, the new sports complex, everybody's behind a sports center, but it would be nice to see everyone behind a performing arts center.
Amen.
Well, and I also think one of the things that the sports complex did is they had a very, very active campaign, citizen campaign that really spread the word as well. So that would be part of when I think, you know, Sonia, when we all get together and have that meeting of how we can advocate for that as a group, right? Not as individuals looking for spaces.
Right.
Yeah. Review Masonic advocate for current and future art, open studio spaces and live work housing. Okay, culture and heritage. I don't think we have any action items on there, but
Right.
Recognize the value of heritage and culture, tourism. I think we do that. Support projects that use arts as a vehicle for understanding and celebrating other cultures and Gig Harbor heritage. So we have the poster mural project here.
Uh-huh.
But we put that somewhere else, didn't we? Or no?
I don't think the mural project has been on here yet. Although
right-
that's this year though, right?
Yeah, right here. Current
yeah.
status on Mural Project. Okay, so do you want that in two places too? I think it's fine if it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think an example of this that's already been done is the honor symbol, Our Fisherman, Our Guardian,
Mhm.
where the Arts Commission was one of 3 funders of that sculpture that is now installed and will sometime in the near future be blessed and dedicated.
I
Because
saw
it-
the article and your nice photo of the sculpture. You did a nice job with that. It looked great.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I had a hard time visualizing what it would eventually look like from the drawing. And I think it looks quite beautiful. So,
It's
okay.
it's absolutely stunning. I can't wait for the dedication when the tarp comes off of it, because it's really an impressive, beautiful piece. And it's so about darn time that that something like that is done.
I don't know, since this is future budget, Charlie, if that can go on here though. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we should look for other ways that we can support support projects that use arts as a vehicle for understanding and celebrating other cultures.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it would be very good for us to be actively looking for future projects like that.
Okay.
There's so many stories to be told about the original inhabitants of Gig Harbor, the Squabosh people, and collaborating with the tribe, with the Puyallup tribe. And the museum could be a partner in that too.
Okay, I'll finesse that a little more. Okay. Whew. Anything else? We've given ourselves quite a lot. We won't do it all, but
We've done well.
we've done well. Any additional thoughts here?
So I guess what I'd like to see is when we come back in our next meeting, we'll have the budget so we can talk about some of the budget stuff that's in there. But I think the goal should be kind of to distill this down to maybe just like a 1-page list of actual action items. The references to the the culture element, those are great, and we can have that for background. But I think to put it in front of council, if we can get it just on 1 page and just say exactly these are the actual things we want to do the next 2 years. I think that's what council is going to want to see.
Okay.
That's great. And I will tell you, I am the master of the 1 page.
Okay.
Absolutely.
The 1 pager.
They call her 1 page of me.
Right, I can make anything fit on 1 page.
Thank goodness for Arial narrow font.
That's right. And 7-point type.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I won't do that. But hold on, I did something I shouldn't have done there. Okay.
And I know our Katrina, the new city administrator, I think she's been to the Arts Commission meeting before, but not since she's taken over as city administrator. So I might see if she can come to that October meeting and chat about some of this stuff with you too, when we have a little more boiled down idea of what the work plan will be. And then she can probably give some insight on what she thinks is feasible and maybe not so feasible.
Okay, great.
That's a wonderful idea, Josh.
Yeah, I'll invite her to the next one. And see
That's
if she's
great.
able to join us.
And so I'll correct all the misspellings, and then Lynn will find the other ones I missed, and I'll send this out for everybody to review. Josh, do you want me to translate this to a 1 page for our next meeting, or why don't I do both? I'll have it what they roll up under, and then I'll take a pass at like what our action items are. Does that sound good?
Yeah, why don't you see if you can get it into a one page and send it to Tiffany and I. And if you can do it before, well, let's see. Well, I guess we do
Before
have-
tomorrow.
Well, no, we still have the September meeting too, so we won't actually have the full budget until October 1st.
Right.
We do have a little more time, so
Okay.
yeah, I think if you have it by that meeting, that's great. If not, we can take another look at this and then work on it for the October meeting. Because we will
Okay.
want to see what's in the budget before we finalize anything.
Okay, great. Yes, of course. And all, if it, these things are living, breathing documents. So if you have an epiphany after we get off the phone, please email, me or the whole, probably the best way to do it is to just email Josh or Tiffany, and then they can send it to the whole group, because we're not allowed to do any discussion in email. So, but please know that if you come up with something you feel we missed, when you review it, please send it along. Thank you. You guys are great. Thanks.
Absolutely. Great.
Thanks, Robin.
Okay,
Good job, Robin.
any other discussion on that, or, oh, Crescent Creek Park wood sculpture signage. We're getting a little tight on time, but Josh, I don't know who's presenting this, but there's an attachment to our agenda for the Crescent Creek
I'll
Park
let
totem.
Tiffany take that one. She can fill you in on what's going on with that.
Hey, Tiffany.
Ooh. So this is the sculpture that there were concerns about using the word totem. And so the artist suggested to change the name to just a sculpture of the Puget Sound.
Yeah, good.
So I think they were just looking for your feedback. I received an email. It looks like there might have been discussion in the past about the Arts Commission actually like working on new artwork for the sign. I don't know if that's what the email seemed to suggest. I don't know if that's actually what was discussed at some point.
That was a different, that was in regards to the photom pole that's out in front of City Hall.
Yeah.
You're talking about the Crescent Creek elaborate sculpture, right?
Yeah,
I didn't realize, is that currently called a totem?
That's what the original signage referred to it as.
Tiffany, is this thing that's on, would you put that up on the screen?
Yeah.
Is that the existing signage?
Oh, so I think what the issue is the sign was, or the sculpture was vandalized, and I think the sign was destroyed or ruined, so they have to create a new sign.
Oh,
I didn't hear about that.
So I think that's why they're thinking they could do the change of the name for the art, and then, stylistically, if you want to see something different there.
okay.
Do you have a picture of the sign, what it looked like?
Don't.
So I guess the sign was vandalized. I think that's what Josh, was that what you were saying, Josh?
Yeah, I think this is the original file that they printed for the sign. I don't know if we have the picture of the actual sign anywhere.
So our task is to rewrite this.
Oh, I see. That's what it looked like. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, if you
I
if you
gotcha.
want, or I guess stylistically, whatever you think it should look like.
Yeah, sculpture is a good word. Okay. Well, I don't know that we have to, Josh, is there a deadline for this? Do we have to do that right at this meeting?
No, not necessarily, no.
Lynn, you want to work with me on rewording this?
Yeah. I could even set up the file if you want, like we did for the photom pole, but.
Right.
Okay. Josh, do you know is this a similar sign material and everything like we have for the photom pole? Do you know, it's sort of a metal wrap?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it should be the same. Most of those signs all look the same, so I would assume it's the same process.
Okay. Is there a title up there at the top?
Just Crescent Creek Park totem.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Interesting. City welcomes favorite carver. That's
It's a
kind of
little,
exclusive. or
yeah.
inclusive or yeah, what is it? Exclusive. A
There's
Victorian
there's
Interesting.
some wonderful opportunities for
Yeah,
better for improvement here.
we could definitely improve this design.
Yeah.
And was there any other input for the what it should be titled? Just a sculpture? Crescent Creek Park sculpture?
Just sculpt. Yeah, I think that's what the artist, was comfortable sculpture.
Okay.
Yeah. Is Totem, I'm curious, is Totem, the carver is Jeff Samadowski. Is Totem a word that he uses for this kind of art that he creates?
We could ask him.
My understanding is that he named the art initially. So I think he provided the name for it when we did the call for artists way back when this was created. But and I think that's why they wanted to ask him specifically if it was okay to change it.
Great. Wow.
So I guess on this item, what you could do is, if it's okay with the commission, Lynn and Charlie could go over this together and they could just get back to Tiffany and probably Terry in the Parks Department and let them know, what you recommend changing, or for Lynn, if you want to do like a whole new sign, I think that'd probably be okay to propose.
That's what I would propose, that we start over using the same content, but
Yeah.
finesse it a little bit.
I agree.
And it could come back to the Arts Commission if the commission wants it to, or if you want to just have Lynn work with staff, we could do it that way.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think whatever the commission thinks, like if you want to review it before. Or we could just update the commission, like the status.
I think that's good.
Yeah,
I
I'd
think-
be fine with just getting an update on it with you redoing it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that then. Okay, Lynn, you and I can take a crack at it then.
Great.
Good.
Great.
Thank
If you
you.
actually, Charlie, if you want to take this and I've already got some ideas just for the order of things, but
Yeah.
if you wanted to review it and put together some text, and then I can work on just setting it up.
Sounds like a plan. Good. Okay. Any other discussion on that? We have our little assignment. Okay, so commissioner reports and comments. I do have something, and then I'm going to take the liberty of going first. The Peninsula Art League's 20th annual open juried show will open to the public on September 10th. You all received an invitation from Commissioner Smith on attending the reception on the 9th. However, on the 8th, Thursday, September 8th, we Arts Commissioners will be choosing our Arts Commissioner's Choice artwork for our Arts Commissioner's Choice Award. And I am looking for other participants to help choose our artwork for our award. And the date is Thursday, September 8th. And I believe it's anytime between about 10 and 4. My proposal would be that we meet around 1 o'clock. And what is involved for those of you who haven't done this before, we just get little stickies and we walk all through the exhibit and we put our stickies on the ones that we think are our choices, and whichever artwork has the most stickies wins. And sometimes it takes a little arm wrestling and negotiation. If there are lots of ties, then those of us who have voted for a particular piece have an opportunity to explain why we love that. So we try to be very democratic about it, but we need to have a group of us to make that choice. So who might be available at 1 o'clock on Thursday? Thursday, September 8th.
I'm available, so I would participate in that.
Thank you, Sonia.
I
Dan has
definitely wanna
participated
be
in the
there.
past. I'm sorry, what did you say, Lynn?
I definitely want to be there.
Yeah.
I have some guests in town, but I think I can make that happen. Yeah.
Okay, and Dan has participated in the past. Jennifer, I'll ask Jennifer and Dan. Anyone else? Okay. Hey, Josh, this is not a formal commission meeting, but do we need to like legally say that we're going to do this, that we're going to be meeting at the museum and take minutes and everything?
I think for this one, we will say that this is not really a meeting of the Arts Commission. It's not really part of your work plan or official Arts Commission action. So,
Right.
yeah, I think for this one, you're okay to meet.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you, Josh. Cool. Okay, so then I will see Lynn and Sonia and maybe Dan and Jennifer at the Art Museum at 1 o'clock on Thursday, September 8th. Any other commissioner comments or reports? Anything you've done or seen?
I have something, yes.
Yes.
So I want to just make everybody aware that there's another round 5 of working Washington grants from Arts Block, the state commission, and they just sent out some mails today, and I can forward to the group the announcement. And this is for related to arts, heritage, and science. And it can be either for nonprofits or small businesses.
Oh, wow.
So, and this is so I will forward that information. There's $45 million in relief that's been allocated. Not all of it goes to arts, heritage, and science. Some of it goes to other stuff, but you need to show, pandemic hardship, which isn't too hard for most people and groups. So I will forward that to the commission. Or Josh, do you want me to forward that to you and you forward it to the commission?
You can go ahead and send that.
Okay. So I'll forward that, and if you could pass it along to anyone who you think could be interested or it could be useful for, that would be appreciated.
Great. Oh, good work, Robin. Thank you. On behalf of the Washington State taxpayers, thank you for all that ArtsWA does.
So we received an invitation to that, and actually our new summer festival chair is at a seminar right now in Tacoma that's being hosted by the Washington Arts Commission. So it's fabulous. Yeah.
Well, good. I think you probably received that because you applied for that other grant that you got. So they probably.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, they're hosting seminars. They've got a video walkthrough. They've done everything to make it possible, to make it easy for people to apply. Yeah. So I will forward this to the group. I'm glad that Pal has somebody there right now. Terrific. Okay, that's all I have.
Excellent. Any other announcements or anything? Then in which case, our next meeting is September 14th, but I'll see some of you a couple days before that when we make our Arts Commissioner's Choice at the art show. And if there are no other comments or things for the good of the order, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
A motion to adjourn.
Sonia, thank you.
Second.
And Lynn seconds. All in favor, say aye. We have
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Right.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Good work,
Bye.
everyone. Well done.